Good morning. Welcome to Naturally Kim's Knitting. You are not going to believe this. I just did the whole podcast, and then I looked down at my counter to see how long it was, and I didn't even start it. So I'm doing the whole podcast again. Anyways, welcome to Naturally Kim's Knitting. I'm Kim, and this is my podcast about knitting, spinning, dyeing yarn, all these wonderful yarny things that I do in my home outside of Lima, Ohio. Well, I might as well get through the beginning stuff. This is episode 157, and today is March 12th. You can find me online on Ravelry as NapiersKnits and Naturally Kim's Knitting podcast group. And you should join that group so that you could take part in knit-alongs or fun little chatty things, or just be part of a group. Or be part of our group. It's fun. You might already belong to a group, so I don't want to make you sound like you're antisocial. You can also find me on Etsy as NapiersKnits, Instagram as knittin_Kim, and YouTube, Blogger, and WordPress as Naturally Kim's Knitting. Now, as many of you know, and you might be able to, I can feel it. And after talking through the podcast already, I haven't had a voice, or I've had very little voice for the past almost 2 months. And anytime I do a lot of talking, it'll disappear. I will not have a voice tonight, probably. I don't know why. They even tested my thyroid, thinking maybe it was that. Nope. For some reason, I just have this issue. So last week's podcast was just pictures, and I'm sorry. My brother brought it to my attention. Bless you, Rick. That he watched it once, and then he had to go back to try to read it because I didn't leave them up long enough, and I apologize. I don't know. It took me forever to put that podcast together. It takes longer to put that together than it does to tape one. So, anyways, I feel like I said so much already, and I feel like I'm going to repeat myself. If I do repeat myself, I apologize. Oh, what was I going to say? It's just, I tell you, being away from this, I forgot totally what I do to prepare for it. I have a light behind the camera. Almost forgot that. Almost forgot my drink that I always like to have with me, my tea. I had to go through it because I almost forgot the hat that I'm making this week. So, it's... And there's probably still things I don't have. But we're going to try to do this anyways. Excuse me. I was looking over my shoulder. This has nothing to do with knitting or anything. But my dear, our friend and our neighbor, Joe, we have been friends and neighbors for 26 years. And he's in the hospital, and he's not doing well at all. And I thought I saw a car pull in his driveway, and I was a little excited, but in case you don't know, I live outside of Lima, Ohio, and to the south of me, to the east of me, I have fields. To the west of me, there's a road, and then there's fields. So the only neighbor we really have is right next door to us to the north, and that's Joe. He lost his wife a year ago, my husband and I were thinking. And he's missed her. You've been married a very long time, and you would miss your spouse. But then he started feeling pain, so I'm sorry. He's just very dear to me. And it makes me, my husband, and the puppy dog very sad to think that he may not ever be coming back to his house. So, anyways, I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'll get away from that stuff. We have 2 knit-alongs going on. Two. I know I've had as many as 3, but the one is our finished object knit-along. You do need to be a member of Naturally Kim's Knitting, but other than that, all you have to do is put a picture of your finished object. If it has a pattern name, put that with it. And you're entered. On March 31st, that's when it ends. I get up the morning of April 1st, I close that down and I do random number generator and I pick numbers. And I feel like my voice isn't going to make it through this. I'm going to keep trying to truck on though. Trucking on. That's what they used to say, right? So I have the March thread going right now. And then we have our sweater, knit or crochet along. Now this would be harder to do for other crafts because if you do woodwork or something, it'd be hard to make a sweater to, for this. Any sweater you knit or crochet, as long as they're not the little decorative ones. It can be for a baby, it could be for a child, it could be for a grown-up, it could be sleeveless. As long as, I've had people ask me about the sleeveless thing, and sure, because it's getting to the time of the year where we're not going to necessarily wear sleeves, so why not? And the first prize on that one is, well, the first number I draw, because I don't have first, second, third place, I just have numbers. So when I announce the people, the first one that responds back gets one of their patterns from their queue from our friend Fizzona. She's so generous, I tell you. After that, I'll have to make decisions. But I should tell you on the finished object, in case you're new here and you don't know what I do, each of the people that I draw their names, they get a pattern from Ravelry up to $5. So it's a little knit along I have, or a little craft along I have every month. So, to do something else would be a little bit different. But on a long knit along, I may be having some prizes to add. I've been spring cleaning. I mean, I always been the wrong way. You see my yarn cubby. I am almost 2/3 of the way through that, plus I have to go through the things that are on top. And because of that, and by going through my books and everything, you kind of see they're leaning right now. I've got to straighten them up. I have got craft books. I have got yarn that will be prizes. I'm not sure if I'm going to add them this time for the sweater, but I probably will starting next time. And the way I'm going to do that is I will list the prizes that are available. First one to respond gets their first choice. Second one to respond gets the next choice, and so on. And I'm looking forward to doing that. I haven't decided what our next knit along is. You guys have given me so many ideas. I just haven't decided yet. So I will let you know, though. We have till the end of April, because the sweater knit along started on February 1st, and it goes to the end of April. Don't you love how I just keep going on, but I have interruptions in the middle? Anyway, I used to be a teacher. Can you imagine? Sorry. If you looked at the beginning of this podcast, you will see pictures of the temperature afghan that I'm doing. It is too big to put on camera right now. And I took it from two ways. I turned it around so you could see the bottom and the top clearly. I'm almost done. I will be done with each of the squares, with all the squares, by Thursday or possibly Friday, except for any extra squares that I need to put on to make it even. And I've been thinking of putting a border on, but I don't think I'm going to. I keep looking this way because it's over here. Sorry. I kind of like it the way it is. And I like how you can tell when it was winter. You can tell when it's spring, because the colors change. Anyways, I made it from Picks Swish DK on size 4 needles, and the pattern was the Cozy Memory Blanket pattern. It'll be either a Christmas or birthday present for my daughter. We're trying to decide because we have put a lot of money in that for yarn. So we're trying to decide. What else is on my needles? Well, I have more. I can't just be working on the afghan. Pshaw. These are socks that I am making from Gale's Art sock blanks, only they're not blanks. I love them. Look at them. I love them. Now, I am putting a pattern on them. And I'm not ready to show you the pattern yet. But this is the way that, whoops, excuse me. This is the way that the colors are. These are the heels with my little ribbing on the back. And I, I, I've told you before, I like wearing socks that aren't matchy-matchy. What can I say? So I'm through the heel. Cuffs next. Not sure if I'll work on it today, tomorrow, or when, but you know. Then I didn't think I'd have these socks to show. I really thought I'd be done with them. I took them to church thinking, because my other socks had patterns, well, actually the soup kitchen socks were done, and I didn't want to work on toes while I was at church. So I took these, even though these are not soup kitchen. You know, I like to work on soup kitchen socks at church. Well, these are a belated Christmas gift, or a Christmas gift for next year. I haven't decided. But what I love is this is from the same hank of yarn. And do you see the color difference? I don't mind it, and I'm hoping she doesn't. But I am on the ribbing, and I really thought I was going to get those done. Now, those are just plain vanilla socks, but the yarn itself is from Hypothesis Yarn. It's a merino nylon blend, and it's called Spectral Alphabet. That's what I got when I searched for this gal's favorite colors on Etsy. I came up with this yarn. So tickled. Then, sorry, I had something in my teeth. And it decided it didn't want to be in my teeth. Not this past October, but the October before that, I went out to California for 5 weeks. And before I went out, my granddaughter was telling me she was going to be Peg from Peg Plus Cat, but she needed a hat. As it turned out, she was sick over trick-or-treat, so she didn't get to go. But it didn't matter about the hat anyways, because I took the yarn out to her, and no, Grandma, I don't like that. I said, but it's the same color as Peg's. No. And I had the label, but you couldn't see who it was, what the brand was, because they put a price sticker right over the brand. I got it from on eBay by looking for orange sparkly yarn. And this is the yarn. And so I don't have a chemo cap I'm working on this week because I'm working on my granddaughter's hat. And it might be my grandson's too. If you saw the introduction, I had to put the picture of him wearing that hat because Genevieve asked me one day, Grandma, can you make me a kitty cat hat? I'd never tried one, but I said, I'm sure I can. I said, do you want the face of a kitty cat or no, just the ears? I said, okay. So I made her that hat, and she did wear it. She liked it, and I just laughed when I see Tobias in it because Tobias never liked hats on his head, and now he does. So I'm going to have to start making hats specifically for him too. Anyways, so, you know, those are the little things I'm knitting. I'll show this next. This is the throwback sweater by Drea Renee Knits. If you remember, I did a pattern test. I guess you call it a pattern test for Kat Carey, and she gifted. Well, my payment was this yarn. She asked me what colors. I said, "Oh, anything purple." So she sent me this purple yarn along with those lovely colors that blend into it. And I am right now on the ribbing at the bottom. You do 4 inches of knit 3, purl 3 ribbing on this, and then I'll be ready for the sleeves. I love it. I don't make sweaters for myself. I make shawls for myself, but I've made myself a coat before. Actually, I've made 2 coats. But I've never really made a sweater. So I'm so tickled that's for me. The next thing is for me too. You've heard me talk about the knitting expat. She has this little girl, and I have watched I've watched the podcast from the beginning, but with my grandchildren so far away, I love watching her little girl grow from a baby to the big girl she is now. She is such a sweetheart. And they always call her Little Nugget. So she put together, if you remember, I made the kitty cat sweater that I made my daughter was actually a garden gnome pattern from the Knitting Expat. I love her designs. She has a pattern test. She made the Little Nugget pullover. Now she's got the not so little Nugget pullover. And it's a top down. And this is Layla's. Oh, I wasn't going to say her name. This is her little girl's sweater, but it's in black and white. And those are bright colors, okay? Well, her mom is making the same bright colors for herself. I decided to go for a more muted or more natural tones. And if you remember the socks that I made for my father-in-law for Christmas, you'll recognize this is red fox. And then the color I'm going into right now is Vale. And then I've got some greens that I'm going to after that from Knit Picks. So I am just, this is going to be lovely. Mina does such a great job anyways. And so when I was able to get on her knitting pattern knitting team, I was so tickled pink. I love her work. And she gave me permission to talk about it today. She's just amazing. Her patterns are challenging enough to keep, some of her patterns are challenging enough to keep my interest, but yet easy enough that a lot of them, once you get the pattern down, it's blind knitting. This sweater, it's straight knitting, but with the color change, that is where your attention is. And she even had a formula. I'm not a math person, if you remember. She had a formula so you could figure out how many inches to make each stripe. It's not a tough formula. But, you know, I need all the help I could get. So, I was so tickled. I love working on this every day. And plus, since it is straight knitting, or circular knitting, I just keep going, and while I'm watching TV or something, as long as I make sure I don't do more than my color stripes are supposed to be. Now, if you noticed, I didn't have a soup kitchen sock. If you didn't hear that, I didn't have a soup kitchen sock. Well, that's because, other than the ends, I do ends all in one day. You know, I'm just weird. But this is the sock for the soup kitchen. Well, I have two of them. I'm not just going to send one. And this is one of the first colorways I ever dyed. And I don't know why I did pink, but I just really wanted to just try it. And I love this. It's a merino nylon blend. And I don't want to put it too close. I trust most of you, but every once in a while somebody can get on here and they'll just take a pat. Well, not from me. I don't know if they've done it for me, but from other people. Because I've heard people say how they've seen their work elsewhere and somebody just took the idea and everything. I work hard on my designs to make sure they look like I want them to. So I'm not going to show it real close, because even though I trust most of you, and I'll tell you another reason in a minute. This is called Cobblestone Road, because all the little bumpy stitches remind me of cobblestones. And this is like the hedgerows that you would find beside a cobblestone road. But there's another reason that I don't just, well, instead of trying to look at the screen and copy it, they could go to my Ravelry website, Napier's Knits, or look under Kimberly Napier. And the pattern's going to be free on Friday and Saturday. After that, it's $2.50. $2.50. So it's not all that much. I don't think I would pay that for a sock pattern. I just don't like paying tons of money for sock patterns and then having to buy the yarn, which can be expensive on top of that. So that's why I try to make them free for the first couple days. I have to talk with my hands, because if I don't, I can't talk. Okay, I just need to check my show notes, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Okay, half truth the right way. I don't have a chemo cap. I have a hat for my granddaughter. I will be starting a soup kitchen sock either after I get the throwback sweater done, or well, it'll be before Mina's because my throwback sweater is going to be done sooner, quicker, whatever. Suppose I could start one after I get the afghan done, but I have plans. Okay, let's see. Oh, sorry. I don't have a cold. I don't have any other than the gravelly throat, or going to absolutely no voice. I don't feel sick. In fact, they tested my thyroid because they thought maybe. Yep. Don't know. I want to tell you something though before I get started on this next part. Oh, I already told you I'm doing spring cleaning, I think. Didn't I? If not, I'm going to have lots of books and different kind of yarns. Some of my homespun yarn for prizes, and people can pick and choose. Anyways, back to where I'm at now. I used to do this when I was teaching. I don't know if it drove the kids crazy, but it drove me crazy sometimes because I would have to remember like an assembly or something. And I would be teaching, and all at once it would dawn on me, oh, yeah. The unplanned for things, you know. Okay. I got shipment over. If you thought I was going to say yarn, sorry. Nope, no yarn. In fact, I've not even got roving lately. Because I've explained to my husband, roving does not count. I have roving that I got from Woolboffy last year. So I really have no reason to buy roving right now. Doesn't mean I won't. But sometimes roving just calls your name, you know? Oh, but I did get some Knit Picks knitting needles this week because I needed them. How is it that sometimes, well, I knit with wooden needles. So it's the reason why I need replacements, because sometimes the wood wears down, or it gets a sharp point, or sometimes it gets sat on or stepped on. I know none of you guys ever have and put your needle somewhere where they're going to be sat or stepped on. I know. That's just me. Sorry, I'm trying. Oh, I did have a chemo cap done, but it's on the desk underneath something, so I'm not going to reach and get it. Sorry. So I did get a chemo cap done. Books. Crafty books. This book is going out to my grandchildren. This is called Beautiful Press Out Flying Butterflies. And you can get this on Amazon, or you can get it from Dover. But look at this. They are easy to punch out. The directions, gotta turn the book, are right on the page for how to fold them. They tell you about the butterflies. I thought I saw a moth in here, but I don't think I did. I think it just had the body that looked like a moth, but it was actually a butterfly. So I love this. I mean, when you get done, you could make a mobile out of them, or you could be like my grandson would be, I'm sure, and just line them up. He likes lining things up. I think that's so precious about him. Anyways, this book is $9.99, and like I said, you can get it at Amazon, probably Barnes & Noble. I didn't check. All these books I forgot to check out on Barnes & Noble. Sorry. Amazon or Dover for $9.99. But isn't that cool? I love them. I'll tell you. Okay, so there's that one. This one is going to my special middle school friend Haley, which I'm pretty sure she's not watching this, because why would a middle school girl watch my podcast? They have other things to do. But she likes origami. And this is called Origami of the Sea. My one complaint when I get origami books, as you know, is they don't include the paper. This one has 200 sheets of origami paper. Different patterns, different colors. And then they have all these lovely, lovely things to make. And They give you step by step or fold by fold directions. They give you the basic techniques at the beginning. Let me, okay, basic techniques at the beginning. And there's 8 different things that you can make, and they include, or they are, because I'm going to list them all, a blue whale, a penguin, a shark, common eagle ray, deep sea fish, simple fish, squid, and small boat. Look at that. It's also $9.95 at Amazon or Dover. That is so cool. So those are going someplace. The next 2, they're staying here. I've talked about how I love to color before. Well, I saw this book, and for about 10 seconds I thought, I'll send it to my granddaughter. Or my grandson. Because this is a color and scratch mindfulness, coloring pages and scratch art set. And it's the kind of things I love to color. I love to color these figures. With the little patterns on the inside. Sorry, I'm talking softly because I've been talking loudly and I'm feeling it. Anyways, so then on top of the coloring pages, I haven't taken these out of the crinkly wrap, I'm sorry, because there's a little pen beside it. But these are scratch art. So you scratch off the picture and you get different colors. I'll try to show them to you as I work them. But I am excited. I get excited by yarn, roving, knitting, dyeing, yarn, spinning, and coloring, and books. Oh my goodness. If you look at my book review page, I haven't reviewed any this week because I've been busy reading. Then, I got a book similar to this last year, I believe, but this one is a different one. And, oh, I should have told you. The mindfulness book is $14.99. This book, before I forget, is $16.95. Creating Celtic Knotwork. And yes, I got a book similar to this, and you might remember. But this one is different. But it includes the zoomorphic knots. I'll show you one. Kind of like some. I really like some of these. Different ways you can use them. And, of course, the step-by-step drawings and instructions of how to make them. Well, with the crosses, I'm just tickled, borders and corners. So with my knitting pattern, creating knitting patterns, I want to put some Celtic knots in, possibly socks, possibly sweaters. No, probably sweaters. My first sweater I'm going to design is going to have a Scottish thistle on it. I promised my husband. But besides that, I want to work on Celtic knotwork. So this is staying with me. You guys will get chances at other books, but this one stays with me, and the coloring one stays with me, and the other 2 have homes. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. I'm sorry. Okay, in case you're new and you don't know, all my yarn is $18 plus shipping and handling. And if you would rather not go through Etsy, but you would like to buy it from me, send me a PM on Ravelry. I will find it, and we can work out, because we won't know what shipping and handling is till I figure it out. So, let me know. And, okay. It's been recording this time. I've talked through recording it twice. I still have a voice right now. I won't probably in a half hour, but I do right now. As you guys know, I am a Christian, and I just ask for you to please pray for my neighbor Joe. He's dear to our hearts. I told my husband once, well, just the other day, I said, you know, we've never lived anywhere where we actually knew our neighbors. We had a neighbor when we lived in LaPorte, Indiana, that we loved dearly. Um, but we were only there 5 years, and we moved. We moved here, and that was 26 years ago. And the very first day we moved in here, Joe and Geneva came to the door, and they welcomed us to Lima, and they said, we are backdoor neighbors. And you know I'm a Christian, and I feel like Joe and Geneva just demonstrated all the time what was meant when it is said, love your neighbor as yourself. My husband, myself, Joe, and Geneva, all we had to do was ask, and the other would do it. Love them. Anyway, so please pray for Joe and his family. We don't expect Joe to make it more than a couple more days. They want to bring him home for the end, but don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So, breaks my heart. So anyways, sorry to end on such a sad note, but I did want to get that in. So, I hope all of your craftiness goes very well this week, and you don't make any mistakes. But if you do make mistakes, I hope they're little tiny ones that are easy to correct. Love all of you. Thank you for visiting with me. Big, big hugs. And hopefully, I will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.